Hello, grade 12 students. This video focuses on writing chapter 1 for your practical research 2. Chapter 1 contains the following: background of the study, conceptual framework, research problem, significance of the study, scope and delimitation, and definition of terms. Let's start with the background of the study. This is part of the research that includes information that focus on the importance and validity of your own problem. In this part of your study, you should be able to justify the need to conduct a study. Remember that a research study should be worth conducting. This means that the study has something to contribute to the existing knowledge, to discover new knowledge which will benefit mankind. The background includes a general orientation to the problem area and provides a brief rationale to justify the problem. And in order to come up with or write a good background, answer the questions: what facets of the problem are already known and what need further investigation? And what approaches have been used previously in research of the problem? As I always tell my students as a piece of advice, avoid topics that are overstudied already, topics with established facts already. Or if they really wish to do studies on same topics, they should be able to identify what we call gap. Meaning, okay, there are already established facts about a certain topic, but what information might be lacking about that topic? For example, effects of bad study habits have been identified by many researchers. There have been studies supporting the reasons why students have poor performance when they have poor study habits. What seems to be missing in facts about study habits and their relation to academic performance? What causes the poor study habit? There may be underlying reasons why students have or tend to have poor study habit, or worse, results to their poor performance in school. You may look into that. And since senior high is new in the Philippines, you can use students from senior high school as your respondents. Results of the study will benefit the senior high school students, the senior high school teachers, as well as the principals of the whole institution, the DepEd. Then, you can use similar or better different approaches that will make your study more valid. Your background shall include discussion of the problem in general and specific situations observed and experienced by the researcher, concepts and ideas related to the problem, including classification of important terminologies, and discussion of the existing or present conditions and what is aimed to be in the future or the gap to be filled up by the researcher. In here, you need an open mind. You may use or cite literature, but advisably, you generate thoughts and ideas. Use or include your personal experiences. You organize them and use appropriate transition words like those that you used in your practical research 1. In addition, you can use catchy introductory phrases or sentences like a theory or a quote from a famous person, or a phenomenal line from an icon or a legend, and many others. And then you must end your background with a short rationale. Why do you need to conduct a study? Will it give any benefit? So you should answer those questions. Next. For a group activity, you complete the following in a short band paper. So you write your research title, the title that you have chosen. You indicate the names of your members as proponents. And then you write your introduction. Your introduction, as I said, should be composed of general specific situations as you observed or experienced, concepts and ideas that are related to your topic, and some important terminologies, or what gap you are filling in, no, to conduct the study. And then a little account of the past, what has been established about the topic, a report about the present. So what about your topic at present situation? Or what do you envision for the future? Okay, so your study should be composed of, your activity rather will be composed of the following to be submitted online. Next, let's go to the second part of chapter 1, which is the conceptual framework. What is conceptual framework? It is a model with symbolic representation or abstract ideas to show direction of study. Your your framework may be in a form of diagram, illustration, skeletal, or structural framework. Lines may be used to indicate connections or arrows to indicate relationships. Different shapes, enclosing variables, may also be used. Let's take a look at some examples. So we have here some examples. Example number 1. We have a simple framework here. Do you see a line indicating connection between the variables? We have the variables curiosity, motivation, and attitude on mathematics. And then, how do these relate to the mathematics performance of senior high school students of Malinta National High School? Or you may study about the impact of the three variables, curiosity, motivation, and attitude on the performance of the students in Malinta National High School. This one is like a flow chart. We have main concept on the first level, or three concepts on the second level, and another line or single concept in succeeding levels. So as we know, like a flow chart, we have a deductive method and inductive method. So you start from the general to specific, or specific to general. So it's like that. This simple example is like that. So we have here some other examples. Okay, we can also come up with a circular framework like this one. Okay, let's take a look at the first one. Let's go back to the first one. Okay, after you have drawn your framework, what do you need to write about your framework? You need to describe your framework. It goes like, this particular study concerns with the nutritional status of students and focused on 1, assess the nutrition status of pupils in the school, and 15 students and so on and so forth. So you are stating your problems or objectives already as part of your conceptual framework. In the next example, again, we have curiosity, motivation, and attitude. These are all aspects to contributing to the mathematics performance of the student. So these variables play major roles in mathematics performance. The figure above shows the direct relationship of the predictive variables with the dependent variable, which is the mathematics performance. So in this part of your chapter 1, you are giving the conceptual framework of your study, and then you describe your framework. So you have to be able to describe the connections and relationships among the variables that you included in your framework. Another example, we have Okay, for example, we have the figure above shows the schematic representation of the topics covered in developing and validating instructional materials. So as I said, you can have your framework in different um, um, pictures like diagram. You can have it circular. You can also have it tabular. It's your choice for as long as you can describe your framework, the relationships and connections among the variables in your framework, and that's good to go. Okay. So for another group task, you complete this table, you draw your framework, then describe your framework, and lastly, you write already your crafted research problems or questions. And then you have your research, your work checked by your advisor. So continuation will be